So I grew up in the church. My dad's a pastor, and I spent more time at church than anywhere else in the world. And so when I'm talking to you guys, a lot of you guys grew up in the church. Believe me, I understand the frustrations and the difficulties of growing up in church. And when I was younger, there would always be a special speaker or somebody from the church that would stand up and share their testimony. That's what they called it. And they would get up and they would talk about their life before Jesus, before meeting Jesus, and how messed up it was and all the horrible things that they did. And then they met Jesus, and he, changed them, and they now are in a much better place. And those stories were always interesting to me. But as a young kid, I had a hard time resonating with those stories because I was a kid and I, hadn't been a drug addict, or I hadn't been, literally there were some people that talked about they had murdered somebody, so I had a hard time really, really connecting with those stories. And honestly, when I grew up, I was a pretty good kid. I didn't do anything that was horribly bad. I wasn't perfect by any means. I was a little bit rambunctious, but I was a pretty decent kid. And so I didn't have that testimony life. And so I got into ministry as a young adult, and I started speaking about God, and I started preaching the Bible. Before I really even grew up, I started doing this. And in my early 30s, I'm 40 now, so this is about 10 years ago, I went through something that was unexpected. I started having doubts. I started having frustrations. I started running into dead ends. I didn't know how to get from point A to point B. I got to a place where I was just stalled in my life, and I was almost having a mental struggle to the point where I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And it wasn't a full break or anything like that. Some people didn't even notice anything was going on, and some people that were close to me did. But I had to figure out what was wrong, and I had to find the root of the problem. And so today what I'm talking to you about is a little bit of how I did that. It's kind of a longer story. Like if I were to go through the entire thing, it would take hours probably, but this is one part of it, a key part of it that helped me a lot. There's this scripture, one of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of James, and I'm going through a teaching right now on it, and it's reminding me a lot of the things that I feel the Lord used in these scriptures to help me through that time. And in James 1, 5-8, it says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all of his ways." So when I read this, the part that stuck out to me is the part where he says he is a double-minded man. I'm like, double-minded, what is that? And so I went on a deep dive of what that means. And so I looked up the Greek and found out that the word is dipsukos, and it means the man with two souls. It actually means one personality but two souls. This describes the person who behaves in two dramatically opposite ways according to what is expedient. And as I continued to read the word, I was also led to some books that helped me understand even more. In the 50s, there was a man named Leon Festinger, and he came up with a theory called cognitive dissonance. And I learned that cognitive dissonance is basically the exact same thing that James was talking about of being double-minded. And Leon Festinger wrote this: "The presence of dissonance, which is double-mindedness, gives rise to the pressures to reduce or eliminate the dissonance. The strength of the pressures to reduce the dissonance is the function of the magnitude of the dissonance." And so basically what he's saying is when we are double-minded, when we have two opposing beliefs inside of us, when we believe, for example, that we're supposed to live our lives wholly for God, but we also have a family and we need to spend time with our family, and those things begin to clash, we have a psychological discomfort, and that psychological discomfort causes us to relieve that pain in some way. And a lot of people can't get past these points in their lives where they don't know how to solve this double-mindedness. And what many people end up doing is they end up turning to substances, or they turn to some sort of a outlet that helps them mask the pain. It could be drugs, alcohol. It could be TV. It could be going and hanging out with people, and it's not always bad things, but sometimes it's a distraction from actually sitting down and fixing the problem. And so the way that I fixed this problem was I had to really write down exactly what I believed, and not what I was taught to believe, but I had to write down exactly what I believe, because our beliefs are what motivate us in the end, right? We have our base instincts. We want to eat. When we're hungry, we want to eat. If we're thirsty, we want to drink water. And those are our base instincts. But then beyond that, our motivation, we have a deeper motivation, right? To do good in life, to do what's right in life. And that comes from our beliefs. And so I had to write down what my beliefs were. And I had to check my beliefs and say, do my beliefs line up with who I want to be? Do my beliefs line up with who I believe that I need to be? And as I did that, a lot was opened up to me. See, I talked the other night about this to a group of people, and I said, you have three choices when you're dealing with this double-mindedness. One choice is to change your behavior to line up with your beliefs. That's one choice, right? Another choice is to change your beliefs to line up with your behavior, right? And the third choice is just to completely lie to yourself and justify where you are in life. And obviously that's not the right choice. A lot of us, we lie to ourselves. We say, no, it's okay. It's fine. Things are okay. May not be going where I want to go. I may not be doing what I want to do, but it's fine. Because I'm comparing myself to, Joe Schmo over here, or whoever else. I'm comparing myself to these people, and I'm doing better than them, so I must be doing good. But we are called to something greater, right, than what other people are doing. We are called to a place where God has called us to. And when we compare ourselves to where He believes we can be, we all know that we can go further. We all know that we can go deeper in our lives. And so I want to encourage you guys today to not justify yourself, not justify your beliefs and your actions, but to challenge yourself and ask yourself, what do you believe? And do my behaviors line up with my actual beliefs or what I want to believe, right? Sometimes we need to change our beliefs. Sometimes we need to change our behaviors. And it just depends. And the only way to find out is to be completely honest with yourself and to write down, what do I believe? Do my actions, and then write down, do my actions line up with my beliefs? Do my thoughts line up with my beliefs? Do my behaviors line up? And when we start to look inside, it's a little bit painful at first, but it's just like working out. I just started working out this week, and last night I had a workout that was so hard, and I wanted to throw up afterwards. But I woke up today feeling so good that I did that, because I know that the long-term results are going to be worth it. It's the same with our minds. You have to work out your mind. You have to do the difficult things. You have to look inside and ask yourself, what is motivating me right now? What are my intentions, and what should they be? So I want to encourage you guys to do that. I have another video that I'm going to be working on this week, and so next week's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks for us. We have Easter coming up, and I work for a church. I do media for the church too, and so we're going to be busy. So I'm going to have an upload next week, but I actually have some good things planned for you guys for this channel. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you share this stuff. I appreciate you guys so much for listening and watching this, and I really sincerely hope this helps you. I really do. And if it does, please share it with somebody else. All right? I'll see you guys next week.